Welcome to the video. I'm Nick from Noob to Pro and I hope you are doing great today. We've been talking all about the different creatures of Ark, giving you tips and tricks on how to tame them, what to do with them, and have they got any special abilities. Today it's all about the Castoroides, also known as the Beaver. So let's go find one. We're looking at the Beaver spawn map for the island, and they spawn in very small areas indicated by the arrows. You may notice that I'm wearing hide armour and I've got very primitive weapons in my hotbar, and that is because I want to show you that you can actually tame these guys way before you can learn their saddle at level 61. Now the most advanced thing I'm using here is the trank arrows, which can be learnt at level 21. So I just got his attention with a trank arrow, then I bowled him. And I'm just going to fire trank arrows into him. I'm not waiting for the narcotic to get into his system. He's got plenty of health, so I'll be able to just keep firing at him to get him unconscious. Because the one thing about these guys is their torpor drops so quickly that he might not get him. You might not get him unconscious if you just wait for a few seconds between shots. So the bowler's worn off, but there we go, he's unconscious. Great. So we will just get some Mijo berries into him, and that's how we're going to tame him today. We'll also need to use narcotic. Now I know usually I say use kibble, always use kibble, try to use kibble all the time because that's how you get the best and the quickest tame. However, these guys use superior kibble, and you're not going to have superior kibble by the time you're at level 21. So we're going to be using Mijo berries. To tell you the truth, you're not going to lose that many levels by using the Mijo berries with the beavers. With some creatures, if you use the berries instead of the kibble, you lose lots and lots of levels, but these guys, it doesn't affect them that much. The big difference with these guys is the time it takes to tame them, and also the amount of narcotic that you're going to have to use. Even with kibble, a level 1 beaver, you would still have to use narcotic. So what we're on here, level 32 beaver, and we're only using Mijo berries, so I'm guessing we're going to have to use over 100 narcotic here. And like I said, it's going to take a lot longer. I think if we were using kibble, it'd probably take about 15 minutes. With this guy, he's just taken a bite and he's only gone up 2.9%. It's going to take about 45 minutes. And like I said, probably over 100 narcotics. So it's going to take a while to get done. So I'm going to get back to you once he is done. See you soon. He's on 98.1% tamed now. We're about 45 minutes later and about 106 narcotics we've put into him, and he's not far from waking up. So stats wise, he's got 810 on the health, 252 on the stamina, melee damage of 120, but the really important one for this guy, because he is a gatherer, he's going to be gathering the wood for us, that's what we're taming him for, and the weight is 318. So we're going to hope that a few levels go into his weight there, because that's not too great, but let's just see once he is tamed. And there we go, perfect timing. So let's have a quick look. 900 health, great. 288 on the stamina. Melee is 215. That weight only went up by what, 12%? Yeah, so we're going to be putting a bit of work into that as we go along. So we'll take the narcotic out. Now, as we've already mentioned, you can't make the saddle, should I say, until level 61. So we're going to get him to do it, to collect the wood on his own. So we've put him on wander, and he'll just wander around collecting wood from any trees. Now, I'm not overly keen on just leaving a dino wandering around on his own. You can lose him, anything could happen. So what I do is I whistle them to follow, as I just have been doing, and I get them to follow me to a tree. Now, he will not collect any wood whatsoever whilst he's following you, so you just, once he's at the tree, you whistle stop, and he'll collect it, whistle follow again, take him onto the next tree, and you just keep going like that, and he'll keep collecting the wood for you. He will only collect wood up to his 50% weight. Once he's at 50% weight, he won't collect any more. So that's the one thing when you're not riding them, you can't make them collect any more than that. So we'll just collect 1 or 2 more maybe, and we'll see how much he's got. Now remember, if we were at level 21, we'd be using a stone hatchet to collect the wood, and we wouldn't have got very many by now. So we'll just take this guy off wander, and we'll see what we've got in just that, 30 seconds-ish. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 340 wood and 43 thatch there. Now, you can also see the weight. The wood in my inventory there weighed 50. Put it back in his inventory, weighs 25. These guys reduce the weight of wood, stone, thatch and fibre, all those 4 by 50%. So they're a really good gatherer, and you can use them to carry stuff along as well. We've jumped forward a few levels. We've got our good armour back on, we've got all our good tools and weapons in our hotbar, and we've jumped forward to level 61, because that is where we learn the beaver saddle. Now, it is made in the smithy, and it is made with hide, fibre, metal ingots, thatch and cementing paste. So yeah, it's quite expensive in both resources and in engram points. It's going to cost you 50 engram points, but it's worth it, 'cause as you can see, it is a smithy itself. And unlike the Argentavis saddle, where you can only make items, you cannot mend items in the Argentavis saddle. In the beaver saddle, you can both make and mend them, so that's great. Now, yeah, we can go around collecting wood as you can do without the saddle. It's just a bit easier to guide it around. A few seconds there, we've got a couple of hundred, just over that of the wood. But you can also collect berries, as we are doing right now. So let's just maybe get a few more, and we'll see how many we've collected there in just a few seconds. There's, yeah, 150 just over there. So yeah, you've got some wood, you've got some berries, you've got a few seeds as well there, and that's great, because that's what these guys are for. So we'll put the level into the weight, because basically you need them for carrying a lot of weight, and when they're gathering, you don't want them getting too full too quickly. So we'll get rid of all this stuff, and we'll find out what else these guys can do. As we know, the beavers live in and around the water, and they're great swimmers. As you can see, they're pretty fast there. You'll notice the oxygen icon flashing there, because he is using oxygen whilst he's underwater, but you'll also notice that the stamina icon is not flashing at all, and that is because they do not use stamina whatsoever whilst they're in the water. As soon as they come out of the water, they start on land, then they start using the stamina again. Fighting isn't the main reason for taming one of these guys, but let's just see if they can handle themselves. I've come across this Sarco in the water. I didn't particularly want to fight it in the water, so let's see what happens here. Right, okay, Sarco's doing 22 damage, I'm doing 60, so obviously we're doing a lot more damage there, but the Sarco is doing quite a bit of damage to me as well, and I am quite injured here, but as we can see, the Sarco is going to lose his battle. And there you go, level 52 Sarco taken care of, no problem. The only problem with the beaver is, as they are herbivores, not carnivores, you can't force feed them meat to regen. The only way you're going to get them to regen quickly is by giving them sweet veggie cake. Okay, so I've just gone and got some sweet veggie cake, and as we can see, his health is still on about half. In fact, it's just under half. So I'll pop sweet veg cake into the beaver's inventory. It automatically takes a bite, and its health goes nearly full there. Now, if I'd had the sweet veg cake in the beaver's inventory whilst I was fighting the Sarco, it would have automatically taken it once it had gone down to a certain level of its health, and it would have regenerated its own health during the fight, so that would have been brilliant. I didn't have it in there, so I had to go and get it and feed it to him, but he's regenerated its health really well. Another good use for the beaver is deep sea diving. Now we're going to go down and get this oil here. Just one thing, if you're going to do this, make sure the beaver is following you. If it's not following you, the second you jump off to harvest the oil, the beaver's going to disappear to the top of the ocean, to the surface, and you're going to be in big trouble. It's on follow, so he's not moved anywhere. Jump straight back on him, and I'm back to the surface before my oxygen runs out and I've got the oil. I haven't mentioned the beaver dams yet on this video, and that is because I've done a different video for those. Now on that one you will find out where to find the beaver dams, you'll find out what is in the beaver dams, and you'll find out how to get the goodies out of it. I've left a link to that video at the end of this one for you. Final thoughts on the beaver. These guys are quite simple tame. The biggest danger will come if there's other beavers in the area, then they will all come to defend the beaver you are trying to tame, and you could end up in trouble there. If you are taming them when you are a higher level, you might want to use a taming pen, maybe pick them up with an Argentavis and drop them in there and get them out of the danger area. When you've got one unconscious, remember you are going to use narcotics. You can use crops as well as meteor berries if you're not going to be using the kibble. The crops aren't that much faster than the meteor berries, and they are harder to get, and they do go off much faster, so I don't really see the point of using them. Once tamed, these guys are great. Their saddle, doubling up as a smithy, is very handy. The weight reduction on some of the different resources comes in really useful. Personally, I think that the gathering wood early game before you've even got the saddle is really good. The swimming capabilities comes in really useful, and also they can look after themselves in a bit of a scrap. All in all, I think they're a really good tame. If you found this video useful, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more of our videos like the one shown on screen right now. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day.